We get a lot of questions about permissions and can I use this photo? Can I use this name? So we recently had an author approach us. Had great stories. He's a university coach and has great stories. He's probably been a coach for at least 30, 40 years, near retirement. So he had these great stories that he had written, and they used the first and the last names of all the real people. And we had to explain to him that, oh my goodness, we need to find these people. We need to send them emails. We need to figure out how to make sure that it's okay for us to use their name. And he was just totally shocked. He probably got 30, 40, 50 stories about so and so and so and so. And so he conferring with his attorney, who reiterated what we said, which was you need to get permission. So he's having to go through his Rolodex, so to speak, or phone contact list and find out who does he know that's still around and does he have the ability to contact them and find out. And then he's also now having to change the names in the book for those that he can't find. Moved on, who knows? I had another career. So you want to be very careful with names and personal identification information. What that means is if you need to change a name, and we've had this in the past, we had another university professor who had a story about a male student. We changed it to a female student. That male student used to play golf. In the story, she played tennis. So you want to change different things so people can't read the story and go, oh, well, that's me. I know they're talking about me. You want them to just read right over it and think they're talking about somebody else. That's the goal. Because we've also had authors who might have used someone's name. Oh my gosh, I remember we had a doctor who said he had permission to use this story about one of his patients. And I said, I need to see written permission. He goes, well, I don't have written. She just told me. I go, okay, well then email her. So he emailed her and asked if he could tell her story. And she said, absolutely not. I didn't know you were going to put it in a book. We had to pull the story. I mean, there could have been a lawsuit right there. So our job is to help keep you legal when it comes to names and personal information. The other thing you want to be careful about is copyrighted material and plagiarism. In the world of AI, it has just become a nightmare for those of us in publishing. But luckily, Grammarly has a plagiarism tool. Now we've gotten where we're running every book through a plagiarism scan just to make sure. Because yes, the author can be telling me, I did not use anything that I found on AI. I just used AI for research. We did have an author whose book got not paused, but absolutely rejected by Amazon because of something she had in there. She had gotten permission to use this chart from one of her mentors who had written a book. And at the bottom of that page, we had a disclaimer that said, used with permission from, and the name and the website and information on how to contact that original source. Well, the Amazon robots don't read the notes at the bottom of your page. They read everything else. And they immediately, the red flags and there wasn't even yield signs, it was stop signs. And they actually shut down this woman's Amazon page. And so the lesson for us was put your disclaimers and put your permissions in the paragraph so that the robots will read it. If the robots wait to the end of the page, they just think it's a resource or something down there, and they don't always read those resources. It's better to be safe than sorry later. Eventually, we did get her Amazon account reestablished. She had to prove, and the woman whose chart she borrowed got involved. I mean, it was about a 6-week process to get everything put back into place. The other thing you want to be concerned about is music. You can use the name of a song without getting permission. You can use the name of the person that wrote the song or the person who sang the song. You cannot use the lyrics. Now, you might be able to get away with 7 to 10 words, one sentence from that lyrics, but it just kind of depends on who the musician is or was and whether that can be used. There is something called fair trade information out there. And if you're ever interested in learning more about that, you can reach out to me and I can tell you more about it. That leads us into the next arena of you've got to be really careful about trademarked content and brand references. We had an author one time that, used Coca-Cola and Monsanto and all these other words, but didn't always use them in the best light. And it was highly recommended. We asked them to please not identify those particular brands or company names if they're not going to say something nice about them, because you're just opening yourself up for a lawsuit. So luckily they agreed and took those out. And the other thing to be really careful about when it comes to branding, you can't just go out on the internet and do a screenshot of somebody's logo and add it to your book. That infers that they're endorsing you and endorsing your book. You can't do that on your website either, although I know a lot of people do that. You want to make it misrepresents that they have given you an endorsement, and you want to be very careful when you're thinking about doing that. Again, if you have any questions at all, please reach out. I'm Kathy Davis, daviscreativepublishing.com.